Sit down. Stop mine. Go back. Sit down. This is the day of the Lord that has made. The Lord has made. This is the day of the Lord has made. I rejoice of the garden. This is the day. Stop. The kids, we are the kids of the live in car.
How about a bit of pillow talk? Let's tackle motherhood. Well, as you know by now, I'm 57 and I had my kids pretty young. My first child was born at 19 in 1985. I had her in January of 85. And I had my son in 1988. I had another daughter in 1990. And then my last child was born in 1998. So I had a little time. I had two toddlers at once, basically, at one time. And my first daughter was, well, she was, of course, she held her own. She was older than the others. But as a mother, I think as a mother, I did the best that I could with what I had. Because basically, my mom was old school. She never really talked too much about being a mother, but what to expect and all of that. What you get when you have kids and all of that. And when I had my first period, she told me, "Oh, you can go and play with boys now and see what you get." So and give me a book on manhood. Wow, I was like, wow. I actually went through the book, but most of what I knew at the time when I had my first daughter, came from books, Mills and Boone, Harlequin romance, all those juicy books, and friends, school, acquaintances, cousins, you know. As parents, as a parent, but I could only speak for myself as a parent because we all have a different story. But I can tell you about my experience as a parent. I made some mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I basically learned as I went along. Whatever happened with the first one, I still didn't expect what I got with the other two. You know, with all of them, it was a different child, totally different child. And oh God, sometimes I wanted to throw up my hands in the air and give up. It was so difficult. And I was a spoiled only child because my brother passed away when he was 3 and I was 11 years old, and he passed away. He had cancer, he had leukemia, and he didn't survive, and he passed at 3 years old. So basically I grew up an only child. My mom and my dad, they never had any more kids after that. No matter how I begged, I was spoiled because whatever I wanted, I just needed to ask, and I'll get a little run around, but I still eventually got what I wanted. Yeah, I had a lot of freedom. And the reason why when I got my children, I didn't give them much freedom at all is because I learned from my experience that giving children freedom leaves a lot of space for things to happen. You understand? For mistakes to be made and for children to be taken advantage of and all of that, you know. It's a very scary day and age that we're living in now. I would not like to have to raise children in this world now at all. At all, at all, at all. I am scared for my grandkids every day. It's so scary out here. You know? My kids are grown and they all have kids of their own, except my son. He doesn't have any children yet. And I made, as I was saying, as I said before, I made a lot of mistakes. Mistakes that I wish I could go back and, change, do something different. Excuse me. I believed in physical punishment. If I was to do that over, I wouldn't do that. But it almost, for me now, thinking back on it, it even bordered an abuse where I am concerned, because I don't even want my children to hit my grandchildren right now. It seems so barbaric now, looking back at it. I don't think I would hit my children, even for the things that went on then. Some things that they didn't even need that. I could have talked to them and loved them instead of hitting them. But it's what I knew. This is what was this is what I knew. This is what was taught to us. I got licks when I did something wrong when I was young. So I just perpetuated this cycle. That's all. And now looking back, I wish I hadn't. But we live and we learn. I tell them every day I wish I was a better mother. Daily I tell them. And when anything comes up, I say, I wish I was a better mother. If I knew the things then that I know now, I would not do a lot of stuff. I would do things so differently. But you could only do what you can do at the moment, in the moment, with what you have and the knowledge that you have then. These days we have a lot of young people raising children, very young people raising children, and not even knowing how to raise children because they will not raise themselves. Excuse me. So it's hard for them. It's really hard for them. And when I look at it, I see a lot of children who will be the same kind of parent as their parents now. And it's sad because what are we going to end up with? Who are we going to end up with? Emotionally and physically scarred children. We're going to end up with a generation of children who are broken, in need of so much love and attention. Boy, it's so scary. The thought is scary. I've tried to share because of my experiences with my children. I've tried to share so that they can do a better job than I did with their kids and don't make the same mistakes that I made. But we all have to live our own lives, you know. I can't make them be the parent that I think they should be. They have to be their own parent. They have to do their parenting their own way, you know. And I just pray. I just hope and pray that things end up right, you know. It's hard. It's very hard. As a young person, when you have children so close and there's no one around to really say, well, what to expect if this one does this and that one do that. Well, what can you expect? What you do in a situation like that is you deal with it as it happens, minute by minute. You know, that's how it is. You can't do anything different. It is what it is. It sucks. But I made it. My kids are okay. Well, to me, they seem okay. They're doing a good, they're doing a great job as mothers. I think they're doing a very good job as mothers. And the kids seem to be growing up in a normal pattern, more normal than they did. They seem to be okay. And it's a different environment now that they're in than my children was in. Because the environment my kids were in, there was a lot of verbal abuse. A lot of verbal abuse in that marriage. And they were exposed to that from a very young age. From a very young age, they had to deal with a lot of verbal attacks on both sides because I wouldn't back down just as soon when he started. I wouldn't back down either. So we used to go back and forth a lot, and the kids were always in the middle. A ridiculous thing to do as a parent. But when you're young and experienced, naive and stupid, you do stupid things, you know. But thank God they turned out pretty normal, pretty normal. They're not criminals, you know. They haven't fell out in depression and anxiety, and you know, they're pretty normal. Thank God. Thank God they're pretty normal. Because it was rough. It was rough. If I must say so myself, it was rough. And we had it rough sometimes. By the grace of God, we're here. We're here by the grace of God. It's an experience to grow with your children. Because as I said, I had them very young and we grew together. We matured together. And by the time I had my last daughter, I was in my 30s. And I knew what to expect with her. That's the only one I really knew what to expect. And still I had surprises. I had things that would come up that I didn't know how to handle them. But as I say, we got through them, and she's grown with her own kids now too. So I think we did it. We got through it all by the grace of God. All you have to do, um, any little bit of information that you can get online, like research, Google. Google is your best friend. For me, Google is my best friend. Even now, at my age, we didn't have Google back in my day. When I had children, I didn't have Google. I didn't have Google. I had no computer, and so a small island. Not everybody could afford a computer, a home computer. When I was young, we definitely didn't have that. When my kids were coming up, was growing up, they had computer. They had a home computer, and they could have gone online and so. But the internet was back then. It was like ridiculous back then. So, so being online, it was a headache. Now everything is at the tip of your fingers. You don't even have to type anything. You can tell your phone what you want to look for, and it just pops up, and it's right there. So, what I can say is love your children. Oh my God, love your children through it all. Give them a love that they would grow it, so that when they become adults and have their own kids, they will impart that love onto the children, you know? And we will end up with a society that is 100% better than what we have now. Love your kids. Teach them what is right. Teach them how to love people. The world is messed up. You gotta teach them about the bad things too. And teach them how to protect themselves and be aware of certain things and all of that. But teach them how to love, first and foremost, how to love themselves. You see, loving yourself, oh my God. That would save some of us a whole heap of problems. If we would learn to just love ourselves some more. A lot of people would not be able to take advantage of us. You know? Our lives, some of our lives would not be out of hand, would not be in chaos if we just learn to love ourselves more. Love each other more. Forgive. Forgiveness is another thing. Forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. Forgive each other. And life would always run smoother. If we could only learn to let things go. Let it go. Some things are not meant to be held on to. It makes you miserable. It makes you all tired and miserable. You know? And your children, it hurts your children when you cannot forgive each other and live for them to see how a loving family, supposed to live. So that they will look for that in later on in their lives. They will look for that. And they will live in the same way. You know? Live in love. Love one another. Forgive one another. The children are a gift. A gift from God. The greatest gift. There is nothing like having a child. Seeing that child for the very first time. The love that you feel for a child is nothing, can be compared. There is no love like that. It's a different kind of love. Oh, and the love a grandparent has for her grandchild, his grandchild. Oh my God. That's another kind of love. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Grandchildren are a fulfillment of their grandparents' dreams. When you see your first grandchild, you meet your first grandchild, and you hear that child cry, and you see that child. Oh my God. I saw my first grandchild being born. It was scary, it was fantastic, it was weird at the same time. He was beautiful, very handsome young man now. Best experience of my life. I can't explain it. It was wonderful. I'm glad I got to see that. I'm glad I got to be a part of that. Thank God. All I can say is take the time to teach your children what is right. Teach them how to live right. Teach them right from wrong. Make sure they know they have certain values, and they know what to expect in life. You might not get it 100% right. You might not be able to tell them all that. Well, you would definitely will not be able to tell them what they're going to experience. You can put them on your guard with certain things, but you can't tell them how their lives are going to go, because everyone, life is what you call it? Life is unpredictable. We never know what can happen. You never know what's around the corner. You just gotta take it one day at a time, one step at a time, one beautiful, amazing experience at a time. Life in itself is an experience, and having children, raising children, and loving your children is a is an experience that only you can describe. And we all have a different journey. We all have a different journey, a remarkable journey that brings so much joy and pain sometimes, and hurt and sadness. There's a myriad of emotion that goes through each and every one of us on a daily basis as mothers. Sometimes we want to give up so badly, but because we love our children and we want the best for them, we can't give up. Are you gonna give up? Who is going to be there for your children if not you? You were blessed with them. It's your responsibility as a parent. All you can do is do your very best. Do your very best. It it just takes the strength, the tenacity, a willingness to learn new things, and just put one foot in front of the other, like a newborn baby trying to walk. A toddler trying to walk for the first time. Just put one foot in front of the other. You'll get through it. It's not rocket science at all. It's just one day at a time, as I said. One day at a time, a minute, a second at a time. Just, it'll work out. The only thing you can get wrong is when you abuse your children and brutalize your children and not love your children. Once you do it the right way, you will see amazing results. So, until next time, Ciao.